So the days finally come. You lost your sport, whether it be through retirement, you know, medically, getting injured, you didn't make it to the next level. All of us face these challenges. Former athletes, it doesn't matter if you played in high school, college, or the pros. That's one of the most heart wrenching moments ever is losing your game, losing, you know, the sport that gave you a spark, that gave you an opportunity to prove yourself amongst all different types of people, to make a name for yourself, where you have the attention, the money, where you have, the accolades and the attention, all these things that contribute to who you are as a person, as a woman, as a man. Um, those opportunities to perform, the structure, the direction, the ultimate goal. And as an athlete, we're so tied to performance and becoming our greatest selves on the field, on the court, whatever sport you play. And I think the 6 to 12 months after you finish that sport, I know in my own experience, I tore my ACL, my meniscus, about 2 weeks after earning my scholarship. I played football at the University of Arizona, and um, whenever I was healing, most of my teammates were still on the field. So all that time, I was, by myself, scooting around in a chair similar to this, trying to get, to the bathroom. And I had to take that time. I'm used to being around my teammates, but it was all me, and I wasn't a part of what seemingly was the motion or a part of the in crowd or in group. I had to figure out who I was as a person outside of athletics. That's one of the most difficult things that you could probably ever do. But all of us have to face it at some point. It's going to end, and I think that a lot of athletes are done a disservice growing up because everything is geared towards competitive team sports. I know in a lot of communities, it's harped on a lot. Like, hey, you can make it to the league, you can do this, you can do that, and that's not always the end goal for most people. Most of the times, you put so much hyper focus and obsession as an athlete, because what we do is as athletes we obsess, right? Putting in the extra work, um, just loving the game, like watching games. Everything is about our sport. Everything that we do, what we eat, who we hang out with, everything is geared around a team sport environment. And so, whenever you go into life, which is essentially a solo sport, right? It's goals of your own making. It's a standard that you set for yourself. Albeit that most athletes, because of the responsibility, because of the discipline and the resilience that we get within the game, we're able to implement those things off outside of our athletics. You still have to be able to set that standard for yourself. Who are you going to become? What career path are you going to chase? These things are super essential because no one's going to do it for you. you know, at the end of the day, you're going to sit back, especially once your sport is done. No one's going to be concerned like, oh, so and so plays for this college, and everyone's talking you up for a season of your life, as the second coming of whatever athlete, proud of you. And I think it's genuine in the moment, but that huge fall off after you're not signed to a team or you're not playing in school anymore. No one's really checking for you, so you got to figure out who are you beyond that. And what I recommend is, because I had to do it myself. One of the things you see these books here, like that's one of the major things that helped me is reading and educating myself, like finding out more things about the world, finding more hobbies and interests that I have. And so going through these books, listening to these motivational speakers, figuring out the type of industry that I want to work in, or what is my uh, visualization of my own future, just like you did on the quarter field, right? The night before games, or you always imagine yourself making some big play, or making the game winning shot. Life still requires that, right? I believe that life is about imagination. It's about visualization. It's about seeing yourself before you even get to that overall outcome. And that visualization is the thing that's going to carry you, and it keeps you focused. It keeps you always going for 1% more, just like in athletics. Like, when you're in the weight room, it's always about the extra weight that you can carry or that you can push, right? Life is the same way. Life is about figuring out a strategy, right? You had a strategy for in the game, you had a strategy for perfecting your craft. You have to do that same thing, right? And so you have to find something that's next for you that you can obsess over, that you can put that discipline, that resilience, that strategy into, right? Because once you find that thing, you can take that obsessive ability in a positive manner and ultimately remain elite in your next version of life, right? Whatever industry it is, whether it's finance, law, logistics, all these different things, right? You can find your niche in what is geared towards you. I think there's like a fallacy that you know the dumb jock fallacy, and a lot of players, you know, I don't count what you did in school growing up. You might have got good grades, you might not have good grades, right? At the end of the day, it's about you know it, I think Coach Tomlin has said it's not what you're capable of; it's what you're willing to do. And I think that Mike Tomlin said that, and I think that's so true because if you're willing to put in those extra hours, if you're willing to show up every single day and do that percentage more to make yourself competent in a new area, if you're willing to make up those new hobbies and figure out what you as a person see your future being, right? How can you do that? Like, who are the people that you could be around? You can curate all these different things, and essentially, life can become your new sport. How can you be excellent overall? How can you show up as your best self to your family? You know what I mean? To your coworkers, right? What is your strategy so that you're not, um, living a life that you have to live, and you can live the life that you want to live? I think that's the most important part. Waking up every day with a purpose, with structure, similar to when you were in athletics, right? How can you operate at an elite capacity? And that's the most important goal, you know, because it's going to be tough, right? That first, 6 months to maybe 1, 2, 3 years, depending on what your strategy is, where you come from plays a role. I think modeling is a huge thing. It's like, who are you looking up to? Who do you see that is living the life that you want to live? And if you can identify those type of people that are somewhat in the same realm of what you want to do, if you can find that and craft your purpose, right? You can manufacture and design your own life. And I think that's the best part is like athletes have those core foundational pieces to craft their life into what they want it to be. And then it's about putting in the work, knowing the standard, reverse engineering your life, right? So seeing yourself, visualizing yourself in the future, and then from there working back to where I'm at now, right? So what do I have to do to get that? And every single day chipping away at that, right? I know for me, like I'm an attorney now, and it was the most difficult thing transitioning from going from locker room talk to legal talk. Even just not even being caught up on what's happening in the world, like not watching the news enough, just not having enough of a knowledge base in that area was so difficult. But I had to double time my studying, right? My self study. I think what you do in school is one thing, and at most times, athletes, we do the bare minimum to eat just to make sure we're compliant, make sure we can still play. I don't know if you're in high school or college. I know in college, we had tutoring sessions, but a lot of people just gave just enough effort to continue moving forward. But it's about the detailed work, right? Like even in sports, like it's about the details. Life is about the details. So for me, like once I got into law school, right before COVID, I'm having these conversations with these people who don't care about sports at all, right? And there are certain political conversations that I just kind of felt like a fly on the wall. I just had to learn quickly, and sometimes there was those awkward, embarrassing moments where I didn't really know what to say, and maybe say sometimes I say something dumb or seemingly dumb or something that just wasn't quite accurate, but through all those difficult moments of lacking understanding, it kind of calloused me from embarrassment to where I didn't mind asking questions. I didn't mind, not having the answer, to where I can ask those questions and get the information rather than faking like I knew. Um, and then ultimately, I kind of shortcut myself. I shortchanged myself because I didn't know. But you got to ask these questions. If you don't ask the questions, and if you're naive, get educated. If you don't know the path that you're going to take now, you need to do research and figure out and strategize your life, right? You might not have a life coach or a life counselor or anything of that sort, but if you can figure out what you like to do and what you can focus on for the rest of your life, right? Your 5 year plan, your 10 year plan. What does that look like? What are the career fields um, that you can do all the way into your old age? Look at the economy right now. There's people that are 65, 70 years old, 50s and up, that are doing gig work. It's because you know, I'm sure there's a variety of reasons, but I feel like it's a skill issue, right? They didn't focus on a relevant skill um, that would apply for the next 20 to 30 years. So it's identifying what type of skill can I bring to the table. Look at AI. Like, how is this career field that I'm thinking about going to be in the future? What's the future of this career? There's so much to think about, right? And so if you're able to think like that, and also stopping the limiting beliefs of feeling like you're not smart enough to learn something new, I feel like audacity is the biggest thing, right? Daring to take on a new challenge intellectually, daring to put yourself in a situation that may not seem like you're going to win right away. That's the most important thing. So making sure your strategy is intact, making sure your mindset is right, focusing every single day on getting those percentage points better. That's how you transition out of athletics and into life um, in a way that's beneficial. And you'll look back, in the moment, you may be sad, right? You don't have your true identity. You only have your athletic identity. But there's certain parts of yourself that you can lean on and develop, right? What are your characteristics? What if my mom used to say, what are your 3 threats to the world? What makes you different, what makes you stand out. um, and if you can find those things and develop that strategy and get reverse engineer that plan and do that every single day, just like reps, every day doing something, there shouldn't be a day that you aren't developing your future. If you can commit to that plan, get around the right people, find the right career, you can have a life that's just as rewarding as being on the field. You'll miss it, but at the same time, you focus on your body, your mind, your spiritual health, mental health, and just being excellent overall, not just prior excellence. And be excellent to yourself, right? Find your own metric for success. If you can do that, you'll be successful. So thanks for tuning in. Good luck with your transition.